Close your eyes. You're Pedri, riding the team bus through Barcelona at night. The city is alive, but inside the bus, there's only quiet focus. Teammates like Lamine Yamal and Gavi sit in silence, lost in their thoughts. The coaches murmur strategies. This is the calm before the storm, the night before the game. Let's immerse you in this moment, where every detail matters. 2. The team bus ride through Barcelona. The team bus glides through Barcelona's streets, its tinted windows turning the city's vibrant energy into a muted blur. Inside, the air is still. Players like Gavi and Lamine Yamal sit in silence, each locked in their own world. Gavi leans back with his hoodie up, scrolling through his phone with a quiet intensity. Lamine Yamal has headphones on, his eyes half closed as he listens to something only he can hear. The hum of the engine blends with the occasional shuffle of feet or the rustle of a jacket. No one speaks much. There's no need. Outside, the city pulses. Streetlights flicker, cars honk in the distance, laughter spills from open cafe doors. But inside the bus, it's a different rhythm. The players aren't ignoring the city, they're just somewhere else mentally. Some stare out the windows, watching the orange glow of Barcelona pass by without really seeing it. Others review plays in their heads, running through movements they'll make tomorrow. The contrast is sharp. The city alive with noise, the bus a pocket of quiet focus. Up front, the coaches talk in low voices. They go over last-minute adjustments, pointing at tablets, their words too soft to carry to the back. Occasionally, one of them glances at the players, checking the mood. There's no urgency in their tones, just steady preparation. They know this ride isn't just about getting to the hotel, it's about shifting mindsets. The bus is a moving transition, a bridge between the day's training and the night's rest. No one looks nervous. That's not how this team operates. Instead, there's a grounded certainty in the air. Some players visualize their opponents, replaying clips they've studied earlier. Others simply breathe, letting the motion of the bus lull them into a calmer state. The seats are comfortable, but not too soft. Nothing that would make them too relaxed. This isn't about shutting down. It's about settling in. The bus turns a corner, and Camp Nou's silhouette flashes in the distance. No one points it out, but a few players sit up straighter. It's a reflex, like their bodies know what's coming, even if their minds are still processing. The stadium isn't just a building to them, it's where they'll step into tomorrow's battle. For now, though, it's just another part of the city's skyline, another light in the night. The ride isn't long, but it's deliberate. Every minute serves a purpose. The players don't need to talk about the game to feel its weight. It's in the way Gavi taps his foot slightly, matching some internal rhythm. It's in the way Lamine Yamal adjusts his headphones, blocking out everything but what he needs to hear. The bus isn't just carrying them, it's helping them lock in. By the time they near the hotel, the energy has shifted. The quiet isn't tense, it's ready. The players know the routine. They've done this before. The bus slows, and a few of them stretch, shaking off the stillness. They're not leaving the focus behind. They're carrying it with them, into the lobby, up the elevator, into their rooms. The ride has done its job. The city's noise fades further into the background. Tomorrow is closer now. The bus stops, the doors open, the night begins. 3. Arrival at the hotel. The bus doors hiss open, releasing the players into the hotel's muted glow. The lobby air carries a faint lemon scent from freshly polished floors, mixed with the subtle aroma of lobby flowers. White orchids today, arranged neatly near the front desk. A pianist plays something soft and familiar in the corner, the melody drifting just loud enough to notice, but not enough to distract.
Lamine Yamal follows, his headphones now dangling around his neck. The piano music slots into the quiet space where his playlist had been. He doesn't look toward the sound. Instead, his gaze flicks to the elevator's digital display, counting down the floors until it arrives. A bellhop shifts slightly near the luggage cart but doesn't approach. The players travel light tonight, just small personal bags. Everything else they need is already upstairs, waiting in their rooms. The elevator doors slide open with a muted chime. The players step inside, their reflections briefly catching in the mirrored walls. No one speaks. The air inside is cool and faintly scented with linen spray, a deliberate choice by the hotel to keep everything neutral, unobtrusive. Gavi presses the button for their floor, and the elevator begins its smooth ascent. The silence here feels different from the bus, more contained, more private. Outside, the lobby's piano fades into the background. Their floor is quiet when the doors open again. The hallway stretches long and softly lit, with carpet thick enough to muffle footsteps. Each player knows their room number without checking. They've stayed in this hotel enough times that the layout is second nature, the same way they know the dimensions of Camp Nou's pitch or the weight of their boots. Routine is the point. The less they have to think about tonight, the better. The key cards are already in their pockets. No waiting at the front desk, no shuffling through wallets. The system is seamless by design. Lamine Yamal slides his card into the reader outside his door, and the light blinks green with a quiet click. He pushes the door open, and the room's conditioning hits him first. Set to the exact temperature he prefers. A small thing, maybe, but it matters. The bed is turned down, the curtains drawn just so. On the nightstand, a carafe of water and a single glass sit beside a neatly folded note. He doesn't read it yet. Gavi's room across the hall is identical but not the same. His jersey hangs in the closet, pressed and ready. His boots are positioned near the armchair, laces slightly loosened from this morning's training session. A faint trace of lavender lingers in the air. Not overpowering, just enough to dial down the tension as he drops his bag onto the luggage rack. He toes off his shoes and leaves them by the door, then crosses to the window. Outside, Barcelona's skyline winks back at him. The distant sounds of traffic and laughter filter through the glass, softened but still present. The city is alive out there, pulsing as it always does, but inside this room, time feels slower. The bed is firm, the pillows plush but supportive. No risk of waking up with a stiff neck tomorrow. Everything here has been calibrated for one purpose: rest. Not just sleep, but the kind of rest that rebuilds muscle and sharpens focus. The hotel's role in all of this is precise. It's not a retreat or an indulgence. It's a tool. The familiarity of the space lets the players bypass any adjustment period. The lack of surprises means no unnecessary mental energy is spent on anything but the game ahead. Even the silence is deliberate. No hallway chatter, no slamming doors. Just the quiet hum of the air conditioning, the occasional rustle of fabric as they move through their routines. When Lamine Yamal finally picks up the note on his nightstand, it's short, just a few words of encouragement from the team's performance psychologist. He sets it back down without reacting, but the message does its job. The hotel isn't just a place to sleep. It's where the last pieces of preparation fall into place, where the noise of the outside world finally fades enough to let the game take center stage in their minds. Tomorrow will come soon enough. For now, the room is perfect exactly as it is. Quiet, ready, waiting. The perfectly arranged hotel room. The door clicks shut behind him, sealing off the hallway's muted sounds. The room isn't just clean, it's calibrated. A single sheet of club-branded stationery rests on the pillow, the team crest embossed at the top. The message is brief. Sleep well. Tomorrow we fight. No signature needed. The handwriting is familiar. The same staff member who's left these notes before every big match. He doesn't read it aloud, doesn't linger on it, but he doesn't toss it aside either. It goes on the nightstand, positioned so he'll see it again when he turns off the light. His jersey hangs in the open closet, pressed and ready. The fabric is smooth, the colors bright under the soft ceiling lights. No wrinkles, no loose threads. Someone took the time to steam it. The shorts are folded beside it, the socks rolled into tight bundles. Everything is arranged left to right in the order he'll put them on tomorrow. At the foot of the bed, his boots sit upright, laces loosened but not untied. The soles are spotless. No trace of this morning's training session. Someone cleaned them. The leather smells faintly of conditioner. The bed is made with military precision. The sheets are crisp white, the kind that feel cool at first touch. The duvet is folded back just enough to suggest it's waiting for him, not demanding. 4 pillows are stacked against the headboard, 2 firm, 2 soft. He'll use 3 of them. The staff knows this. A spare blanket is draped over the armchair in the corner, barely visible unless you're looking for it. He runs hot when he sleeps. They remember. Lavender lingers in the air. Not the overpowering kind from cheap diffusers, but something subtler. Maybe a spritz on the linens, maybe a sachet tucked into the pillowcases. It's just enough to notice when he takes a deep breath. Studies say it lowers heart rate. The club's sports scientists swear by it. The scent mixes with the cleaner they use on the floors. Something citrus-based but not acidic. Nothing here smells sterile. Nothing smells like effort. The curtains are drawn halfway. Through the gap, Barcelona's skyline winks back at him. The glass is thick enough to mute the city's noise, but thin enough to let in the faint pulse of life below. He could close them completely, but he won't. The sliver of light feels right. On the desk, a carafe of water and 2 glasses, one tall, one short, sit beside a dish of sliced fruit. The ice melted hours ago. They knew when he'd arrive. The bathroom light is already on, dimmed to 30%. The towels are stacked in thirds, the club crest facing out. His toiletries are lined up on the counter. Not the travel-sized junk from minibars, but the same products he uses at home. The labels are turned outward. Someone unpacked for him. The shower is stocked with his preferred shampoo, the one that doesn't leave his scalp tingling. The bar soap is unscented. A charging cable dangles from the outlet near the bed. His phone model. Not a generic USB cord, but the exact one he uses. The TV remote sits centered on the nightstand. Batteries fresh. The channel guide is bookmarked to sports networks, but the set is off. It'll stay that way. The thermostat reads 19 degrees Celsius. He adjusts it to 20. The system whirs softly, obedient. None of this is accidental. The room isn't luxurious, it's functional. Every detail exists to eliminate friction. No searching for light switches, no fiddling with shower temperature, No mental energy wasted on trivialities. The effect is cumulative. By the time he toes off his sneakers, his shoulders have dropped half an inch. The tension in his jaw unwinds. This is the psychology of preparation. The jersey isn't just fabric, it's a reminder that he's expected somewhere. The boots aren't just leather, they're a promise of movement. The note isn't just words, it's permission to rest. Together they create a loop. You're cared for, so you can care about the game. The room isn't a hotel room, it's a staging ground. He sits on the edge of the bed, testing the mattress. It yields just enough. The sheets rustle as he shifts. Outside, a siren wails in the distance, then fades. He could call room service, could flip through channels, could scroll his phone. But the room has already done its job. It's quieted the static in his head. The only decision left is when to turn off the light. Attention to detail isn't about pampering. It's about removing obstacles between a player and his best performance. The lavender isn't for relaxation, it's for reducing cortisol. The neat boots aren't for aesthetics, they're for eliminating morning chaos. The room isn't a gift, it's a tool. Tomorrow's game starts here, in this quiet, in this order, with everything exactly where it should be. He reaches for the light switch. The room darkens, but the shapes remain familiar. The jersey's outline in the closet. The glow of city lights through the curtains. The faint scent of lavender on the pillow. He closes his eyes. The room has already faded into the background. Tomorrow hasn't arrived yet. For now, there's only this. A space designed for one purpose. Serving it perfectly. Barcelona from the balcony. The balcony doors slide open with a quiet hiss, letting in the night air. It's cooler than expected, carrying the faint tang of the Mediterranean mixed with diesel from distant buses. Barcelona stretches out below, a grid of amber street lights and scattered neon. Somewhere to the left, the Arc de Triomphe stands illuminated, its arches glowing against the dark sky. 5. Barcelona from the balcony. The balcony doors slide open with a quiet hiss, letting in the night air. It's cooler than expected, carrying the faint tang of the Mediterranean mixed with diesel from distant buses. Barcelona stretches out below, a grid of amber streetlights and scattered neon. Somewhere to the left, the Arc de Triomphe stands illuminated, its arches glowing against the dark sky. Directly ahead, the uneven silhouette of Montjuic looms, its slopes dotted with pinpricks of light. The player doesn't search for Camp Nou in the distance. He knows exactly where it is without looking. This is the Barcelona he knows, alive but not frantic, restless but not chaotic. The rhythm matches his own pulse right now, steady but ready, calm but coiled. Somewhere out there, fans are drinking in dimly lit bars, replaying last week's goals on their phones. Taxi drivers debate lineups on their radios. Kit men at Camp Nou are laying out tomorrow's jerseys, each one smooth with the same care his was. The city doesn't sleep before match day. Neither does he, not really. He breathes in deep through his nose. The air carries traces of cooked garlic from a late-night restaurant, the floral hint of blooming jasmine in some hidden courtyard. His fingers tap once, twice against the railing, an unconscious beat, maybe the tempo of his pregame playlist still echoing in his skull. The sounds of the city aren't distractions, they're anchors. The distant wail of a police siren, the metallic clang of a dumpster lid closing, the muffled bass from a club 3 blocks over. All of it reminds him why this matters. Leaning forward slightly, he can just make out the glow of the Sagrada Familia's spires to the right. Gaudi's unfinished masterpiece looks different at night. Less a tourist attraction, more a part of the city's bones. It's been under construction for over a century. That persistence resonates. Football isn't so different. You build, you adapt, You keep going even when completion feels impossible. A motorbike backfires somewhere nearby. The sudden crack makes his shoulders tense for half a second before he catches himself. He exhales through pursed lips, watching the way his breath briefly clouds in the cool air. Tomorrow, this same city will erupt. The quiet streets below will jam with blaring car horns and chanting supporters. The same sidewalks will shake under thousands of feet marching toward the stadium. But right now, there's only this. The hum of a fridge in some apartment behind him, the creak of the railing as he shifts his weight, the distant blip of a cargo ship's horn from the port. He closes his eyes. The sounds sharpen, the scuff of shoes on pavement, the rattle of a shop's security gate, a dog barking 2 blocks away. His mind starts mapping them, placing each noise like pins on a mental blueprint of the city. It's the same instinct that lets him track opponents' movements during a match, the same spatial awareness that tells him where Pedri will be before he even looks. When he opens his eyes again, a plane is ascending from El Prat, its blinking lights carving an arc over the Mediterranean. He follows its path for a few seconds, idly wondering if the passengers can see the glowing web of streets below. Probably not like this. Probably not with this clarity. From up here, Barcelona isn't just a place, it's a presence. A church bell tolls once in the distance. Midnight maybe, though he doesn't count. The note hangs in the air longer than expected, vibrating through the humid night. Somewhere below, a man laughs suddenly, loudly, his voice bouncing off the apartment walls. The sound is so unguarded, so utterly disconnected from the tension of matchday prep, that it almost surprises him. Football isn't the only thing happening in this city tonight. That's the thought he takes back inside with him. The doors slide shut behind him, muting the city's soundtrack but not erasing it. The glass still trembles slightly when a delivery truck passes. The hum of Barcelona is in the walls now, in the air, in the way his skin still feels the ghost of that breeze. The city isn't just where he plays, it's what fuels him. Its energy, its friction, its relentless, breathing presence. The team dinner. The private dining room hums with restrained energy, tables arranged in a loose semicircle so everyone faces inward. The lighting is soft but not dim, bright enough to see the food clearly, soft enough to keep the room from feeling stark. Plates wait at each setting, already portioned. Baked chicken with a crisp skin, quinoa studded with diced vegetables, steamed greens glistening with olive oil. Coconut water stands in chilled carafes at the center of each table. No menus, no choices. The nutritionist planned this meal 6 days ago, calculating every gram of protein, every milligram of sodium. The warm shower routine. The shower faucet turns with a firm twist. At first, the water spurts unevenly, a cold splash. The schedule sits on the nightstand, a single sheet of paper with tomorrow's timeline printed in clean font. He picks it up without getting up from the floor, scanning the entries he already knows by heart. 9 a.m., breakfast, high protein, complex carbs. 11:30, tactical briefing, main conference room. 1300, light lunch, digestible, low fiber. 15:30, pre-match meal, specific carb ratio. 1800, bus departure for Camp Nou. 1930, warm-up begins 2100, kickoff. His finger traces the timeline, pausing at each item. The schedule isn't just information, it's a roadmap, a way to mentally rehearse the day before it happens. Studies show this kind of visualization activates the same neural pathways as physical practice. When he imagines the tactical briefing, his brain starts priming for these formations. When he visualizes the pre-match meal, his digestive system prepares to metabolize efficiently. This wasn't just stretching, it was a handoff. From the day's preparation to the night's recovery, from conscious effort to unconscious repair. Every stretch sent signals to his nervous system. Every glance at the schedule reinforced neural pathways. The routine didn't just prepare his body for sleep, it prepared his sleep for tomorrow's work. He presses his palms together in front of his chest, takes one last deep breath, and exhales slowly. The stretches are done. The checks are complete. The room is ready. His body knows what comes next. The light clicks off. The bed accepts his weight. The night's real work begins. Silencing the phone. The phone buzzes once against the nightstand, a stray notification arriving late. His thumb finds the power button without looking, pressing just long enough for the screen to go dark. The click is barely audible, but it marks a clear threshold. Connection severed, digital world muted. The device doesn't vanish, but its presence shifts from demand to object. No more pings about transfers, no teammate memes, no last-minute media requests, just silence. This isn't negligence, it's strategy. The blue glow of screens messes with melatonin, the hormone that tells his brain it's time to rest. Even that quick glance at the notification would have triggered a micro surge of cortisol, the exact opposite of what he needs right now. The science is settled on this. Every major sports institute bans screens before bed. His phone isn't just a distraction, it's a thief, stealing minutes of deep sleep with each unnecessary alert. He turns it face down. The leather case muffles any vibration that might slip through. Across the room, his laptop stays closed in its sleeve, charger coiled neatly beside it. No tablets, no smartwatches, just analog stillness. The only light comes from the bedside lamp, warm and steady, not flickering at 60 hertz like LEDs do. These choices aren't extreme. They're standard for anyone whose job demands peak mental acuity. A surgeon wouldn't scroll Instagram before operating. A pilot doesn't check Twitter before takeoff. And a footballer doesn't clutter his mind with digital noise before performing. The digital detox isn't punishment, it's privilege. Very few people can disconnect completely, not because they lack willpower, but because their lives demand constant availability. His life demands something rarer, totality, the ability to give everything to one thing, one moment, one match. That exclusivity is a gift. The silent phone isn't rejection, it's dedication. Feeling the heartbeat, he lies flat on his back, one hand resting lightly on his chest. The room is quiet except for the hum of climate control and distant traffic sounds filtering through glass. His fingers don't press hard, just enough to feel the rhythm beneath his ribs. The first few beats come subtly, then stronger as he tunes in. Thump, thump, thump. Steady as a metronome at 52 beats per minute. The sports scientists would approve. They've measured his resting heart rate for years, tracked how it lowers with sleep, spikes with adrenaline, settles into this dependable cadence during moments of focus. The pulse tells stories his conscious mind might miss. There's no arrhythmia. Good, that means his electrolytes are balanced. The tempo's slightly slower than his usual daytime rate, expected after the shower and stretching. When he inhales deeply, his heartbeat surges faintly with the chest expansion before settling again. Biology confirming what the monitors at training showed. His cardiovascular system is primed but not overworked. No flutter of anxiety, no jackhammer pounding of stress, just the reliable thud of an athlete's engine idling smoothly. He closes his eyes, letting attention narrow to this single somatic feedback loop. Breath in, heartbeat quickens slightly. Breath out, it slows. The cycle continues, syncing with his respiratory rate until the pairing feels less like biology and more like choice. This is how he knows his body's ready. Childhood memories surface. The pillow molds to the shape of his head as memories flicker behind closed eyelids. Not tactics or training drills now, just fragments from years ago, surfacing without order. The first one comes crisp, a plastic ball bouncing unevenly on cobblestones outside his childhood home. He couldn't have been more than 5. The ball was cheap, the kind that loses air after a week, but it felt enormous in his small hands. He remembers the sound it made hitting the wall, a hollow thwack, and how his grandmother would scold him for scuffing the paint. That wall became his first teammate, rebounding passes for hours until the streetlights flickered on. The jersey hangs in the closet, its fabric still crisp from the team's laundry service. He reaches out, fingers brushing the badge first, the raised embroidered lines tracing the contours of the iconic crest. His thumb catches on the gold thread outlining the top right corner, slightly thicker than the rest. This is his 3rd time wearing this particular jersey. The first was a 3-1 win against Atletico. The second, a Champions League group stage match where he'd scored. Superstitious or not, he notices these details. The badge isn't just a club symbol, it's a ledger of moments, each wear building its history. He pulls it off the hanger carefully, letting the fabric unfold. The material is lighter than training kits, engineered for heat dispersion and freedom of movement. The league patch on the right sleeve sits perfectly aligned with the sponsor logo, both pressed on with industrial strength adhesive that never peels. He remembers his first youth team jersey, how the numbers cracked after 5 washes. This one will last, like all the others in his collection, each preserved, each with its own story. He turns off the lamp. The jersey becomes a shadowy outline in the dark, but he can still picture every stitch. Tomorrow it will be soaked through with effort, stained with commitment, maybe even torn in battle. But for now it's perfect, clean, pressed, full of potential. He closes his eyes, already feeling its weight on his shoulders, the badge resting over his ribs like a second heartbeat. The jersey isn't just what he wears, it's who he's become. Sleep comes easier with that knowledge settling in. The fabric waits patiently on the dresser. The hours pass. Dawn creeps closer. The story continues. The sheets are cool against his skin when he first slides in. The linen smells faintly of lavender, the scent subtle but unmistakable, like someone had placed fresh sprigs in the laundry before pressing. The club's sleep specialists insist on this detail. Lavender reduces cortisol levels by 25% in athletes during pre-game nights. The science is precise. The scent molecules bind to receptors in the olfactory bulb, sending signals directly to the amygdala to dial down stress responses. He notices it immediately, the way his shoulders relax deeper into the mattress than they would in unscented bedding. The window is slightly ajar, letting in the night air along with the murmur of the city below. The sounds aren't intrusive, just present, like background static you only notice when you listen for it. A distant bus hisses to a stop a few blocks away, its diesel engine idling before rumbling off again. Somewhere closer, a couple argues in rapid Catalan, their voices rising and falling in jagged peaks before fading as they round a corner. The city is never truly silent, not even this late on matchday eve. But the sounds don't disturb, they anchor. The dream begins in darkness, that charged blackness of the tunnel just before emerging onto the pitch. His boots sink slightly into the rubberized flooring as he shifts weight from foot to foot. The smell hits first. Gasoline from the groundskeeper's equipment, mixed with fresh-cut grass and something metallic. Maybe the handrails, maybe the floodlights. Then sound, not yet the crowd's roar, but its components. Individual chants overlapping, drums beating arrhythmically, the hum of 99,000 conversations blending into white noise. Bald's door is slightly ajar a few rooms down. Music seeps through the gap, something rhythmic but calm, the volume set low enough that it barely registers unless you're listening. No bass, no thumping beats, just background noise for whatever routine Bald is following inside. The faint sound could be from a pre-game playlist, or maybe just something to fill the silence. The night's work is complete. Every detail, the lavender scent, the muted phone, the final stretch, has served its purpose. The player sleeps now, his body rebuilding, his mind etching tomorrow's moves into muscle memory. This wasn't just about falling asleep. It was about preparing to wake up ready. The same principles apply to anyone chasing excellence. Routines matter, rest is active, small choices compound. Tomorrow's game will test skill, but tonight has already shaped it. The pitch awaits.
The team dinner. The private dining room hums with restrained energy. Tables arranged in a loose semicircle so everyone faces inward. The lighting is soft but not dim, bright enough to see the food clearly, soft enough to keep the room from feeling stark. Plates wait at each setting, already portioned. Baked chicken with a crisp skin, quinoa studded with diced vegetables, steamed greens glistening with olive oil. Coconut water stands in chilled carafes at the center of each table. No menus, no choices. The nutritionists planned this meal 6 days ago, calculating every gram of protein, every milligram of sodium. Gavy slides into his usual seat, the legs of his chair scraping faintly against the hardwood. He eyes the plate for half a second, then picks up his fork. No one rushes to eat, but no one hesitates either. They all know the rhythm. Fuel now, digest fully by morning. The chicken breaks apart easily under his knife, the flesh moist and faintly herbed. He chews slowly. Across from him, Ferran Torres taps his fork against his water glass. Not loudly, just enough to create a rhythmic click. It lasts 3 beats before he stops, smirking at Gavy's raised eyebrow. A joke without words. Someone down the table huffs a quiet laugh through their nose. Xavi enters without announcement. He moves between tables, pausing occasionally to rest a hand on a player's shoulder or exchange a nod. He doesn't give speeches tonight. His presence alone tells them everything. Confidence without arrogance, focus without tension. When he reaches the front of the room, he simply surveys the group, his gaze lingering on each face for a second or two. His expression says what they already know: we're ready. The players return the look, some with nods, some with slight smiles, others just meeting his eyes before going back to their meal. No one needs to vocalize the trust. It's in the way Pedri pushes his plate forward an inch when Xavi stands behind him, an unspoken invitation to take some of his quinoa. Xavi declines with a pat to his back, but the gesture lingers. The room isn't silent, but the conversations stay low, short bursts about family, about music, about anything but tomorrow's opponents. The clink of cutlery against ceramic fills the gaps. A staff member moves along the edges of the room, refilling water glasses before they're half empty. No alcohol, no sugary drinks, just steady hydration. The coconut water is barely sweet, more electrolyte than treat. Lamine Yamal drinks his in 3 long swallows, then wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. Someone tells a joke in Catalan, and the players clustered at the far table smirk. The laughter doesn't rise above a murmur. The team dinner. The private dining room hums with restrained energy. Tables arranged in a loose semicircle, so everyone faces inward. The lighting is soft but not dim. Bright enough to see the food clearly, soft enough to keep the room from feeling stark. Plates wait at each setting, already pee. The effect is immediate but subtle. Without the possibility of interruptions, his breathing slows half a beat. The tension in his jaw, the kind he didn't realize he was carrying, unwinds slightly. His peripheral vision stops, darting toward the phone every few seconds. It's not that he was anxious before. It's that he's more present now. Studies show even the anticipation of notifications fractures focus. Simply knowing the phone could buzz keeps part of your brain on high alert, like a goalkeeper waiting for a penalty that might never come. He doesn't miss it. The digital world will still exist tomorrow. The group chats will still be there, the highlights, the stats, the debates. Nothing urgent happens at midnight before a match. Club staff know better than to contact players now unless the stadium is on fire. His family understands the routine. The silence isn't isolation. It's filtration, stripping away everything irrelevant so only the essentials remain. There's muscle memory at play here too. His thumb once automatically unlocked the phone 100 times a day, between drills, during meals, in bathroom stalls. Now the reflex lies dormant. The habit has been overwritten by newer ones. Stretching, hydrating, visualizing plays. Neuroplasticity works both ways. What you don't reinforce fades. The dopamine hits from likes and retweets have been replaced by quieter satisfactions. The ache of well-trained muscles, the certainty of preparation, the clarity that comes from undivided attention. The room feels different without devices. Larger somehow despite its modest size. The absence of screens expands the space, makes the ceiling higher, the walls farther apart. Time dilates too. Minutes pass without the usual markers. No checking the clock, no counting unread messages. Just the steady tick of his internal rhythms, syncing with the city's distant pulse outside the window. He knows teammates who struggle with this part. Young players especially, raised on the constant drip feed of stimulation. They'll mute notifications but keep the phone in bed, just in case. They'll swear they only use it for music, then wake up to find they've been scrolling for hours. He's seen it sabotage performance, the groggy mornings, the delayed reaction times, the fog that lingers until halftime. Excuses abound. I need it for my alarm. What if my family needs me? But the solutions are simple. Buy an analog alarm clock, give the hotel desk your emergency contacts. Instead of resisting the disconnect, he leans into it. The night becomes fuller without the phone, richer in unexpected ways. The hum of the air conditioner registers for the first time. The texture of the sheets demands more attention. The scent of lavender from his pillow seems sharper. Sensory details emerge when they're not bulldozed by pixels. This isn't deprivation. It's calibration. His brain isn't wired to process infinite input and still perform at elite levels. Nobody's is. The foe.
The night's transformative power. Sleep is when the real work happens. As the player drifts into unconsciousness, his body begins repairing at the cellular level. Muscle fibers damaged during training knit themselves back stronger, synapses consolidate the day's tactical lessons into long-term memory, and growth hormone floods his system to accelerate recovery. These processes aren't passive, they're active biological mechanisms refined over millennia, now optimized for elite performance. The club's sleep specialists track every minute of REM and deep sleep, knowing that 90% of human growth hormone releases during these stages. That hormone isn't just for building muscle, it speeds up collagen synthesis for tendon repair and boosts immune function to ward off illness. The brain engages in its own nightly maintenance. Memory replay occurs during slow-wave sleep, with neurons firing in the same patterns they did during training sessions. This neural replay strengthens motor pathways for skills like dribbling or shooting, improving execution without physical practice. Studies show basketball players who visualized free throws combined with proper sleep improved as much as those who physically practiced. Football works the same way. mental rehearsals during waking hours get cemented during sleep. That's why his earlier visualization of opponent tactics will become more ingrained by morning, transformed from conscious thought to automatic response. Physical renewal follows precise timing. The first sleep cycles prioritize brain recovery, with cerebrospinal fluid flushing out metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours. Later cycles focus on tissue repair, stem cells migrate to microtears in muscles, mitochondria multiply to increase energy production capacity, and inflammation markers decrease. Even bone density improves during sleep through a process called piezoelectric stimulation, where collagen fibers generate electrical charges that stimulate bone-building cells. These adaptations aren't luxury upgrades, they're essential for surviving the demands of professional football. Sleep architecture matters as much as duration. The alternating cycles between REM and non-REM sleep create waves of different recovery phases. Deep non-REM sleep triggers protein synthesis and cell division, while REM sleep enhances cognitive functions like pattern recognition, critical for reading games. Barcelona's sleep coaches aim for at least 4 full cycles, about 7.5 total hours, to ensure all recovery phases complete their work. Interrupted sleep is worse than shortened sleep because it breaks these cycles mid-process. That's why the hotel environment controls every variable: temperature, humidity, light, and noise, to protect uninterrupted progression through each essential stage. Hormonal changes during sleep create optimal conditions for these repairs. Cortisol drops to its lowest levels around midnight, allowing anti-inflammatory.
The warm shower routine. The shower faucet turns with a firm twist. At first, the water spurts unevenly. A cold splash, then a gasp of steam before settling into a steady stream. He tests the temperature with his fingertips, adjusts it slightly hotter. The bathroom mirrors fog almost immediately, blurring his reflection into a smudged silhouette. He steps under the water without hesitation. The heat hits his shoulders first, then spreads down his back in a slow wave. For a second, he just stands there, letting the water slick his hair flat against his scalp. His muscles respond before his mind does. Traps loosening, hamstrings unknotting, the constant low-grade tension from training finally easing. The shower isn't about getting clean. It's about resetting. The club's physios had explained the science once. Warm water increases blood flow, speeds up lactic acid clearance, tricks stiff tissue into relaxing. He doesn't think about the physiology now. He just feels it working. The way his left quad, usually tight after sprint drills, stops aching after 30 seconds under the spray. He turns slowly, letting the water pound his chest, his stomach, the faded bruise on his right hip from yesterday's tackling practice. His shower gel smells like eucalyptus. The scent rises with the steam, sharp and clean. He lathers it between his palms before rubbing it over his arms, his neck, behind his ears. The motion is methodical: left arm, left leg, right leg, as if he's inventorying his body piece by piece. No rushed missed spots, no autopilot scrubbing. Just deliberate attention to each muscle group, each joint that'll need to move perfectly tomorrow. Water cascades down his back as he tips his head forward. The pressure's strong enough to massage his spine without being harsh. His shoulders round slightly under the heat. He breathes deeper here than he did in the bedroom, his lungs expanding fully for what feels like the first time all day. The air is thick with moisture, almost heavy, but not claustrophobic. It's like being wrapped in something, insulated from everything outside this tiled space. He shuts his eyes. The sound of the shower changes when he does. The patter of water on his skin grows distinct from the rush hitting the floor, the hiss against the glass door. His heartbeat slows to match the rhythm, steady and calm. Some players take ice baths or contrast showers, but he's always preferred this. Consistent heat, no shocks, no sudden changes. The warmth seeps in gradually, working its way past skin into deeper tissue. His fingers trace the slight divot above his right knee where he had surgery 2 seasons ago. The scars faded now, barely visible unless you know where to look, but the memory lingers. The water smooths over it like everything else, no special treatment, just the same relentless heat. He flexes the joint experimentally, feels the motion fluid and unhindered. Little victories,